We are back with another episode of Growing Forward. Thank you so much for those who listened to my first episode last week. And here I am back again. I have to say, I loved it. It's just so freeing to just speak your mind and say what you want to say in a little space that you create yourself. And you know that only the people who want to hear what you have to say are going to come and tune in. So it's great. So welcome back. If you're back, if it's your first time, come on along in. Today I'm talking about invisible contracts. And you're probably like, what is she talking about? Contracts. Yes, the contracts we sign off our names on by allowing things to go on, or just staying stuck, or staying, allowing the status quo to stay as it is without any change. So like all day long, from the moment we open our eyes until the moment we close our eyes, we are signing these invisible contracts. And what I mean by that is we are agreeing to things by accepting them. So by accepting a situation, you are technically signing off on the agreement to say, yes, I agree to that, no problem. And we know the saying, nothing changes if nothing changes. But like by you not making a change, that means you're accepting to keep things as they are. So like lots of you, I know I've been there, and I'm sure I'll be there again, where I kind of say, yeah, this isn't great at the minute. Now this part of my life or my business or whatever, my relationships isn't great. But by not changing anything, you are signing off on a contract to say, grand, I'll keep carrying that weight. Like, if it's heavy, I've said it before, if it's heavy, put it down. It's not for you. Anything that feels like it's sucking the life out of you, like you shouldn't be doing that. And if you are literally signing on the dotted line. You're signing that invisible contract to say, I'm fine with that. I'll keep plodding along, carrying this weight. So like, just open your mind to that over the next few days. What am I doing? What things am I saying yes to that I don't want to say yes to? Yes, this is very much along the lines of saying no. The things we should say no to. Well, when you don't say no when you should, then you are actually signing an invisible contract to say, yes, I'm fine with that. That's what you're doing. So like, I want to talk today about something that I wasn't aware of, I suppose, like, I don't know, a few years ago when I started all of this kind of work, I wasn't aware that there is such a thing as a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. Now, these seem like very obvious terms. Okay, one is fixed and one is moving or growing. But let me give you an example, okay? When I was a child, I don't know how old, I'd say maybe 9 or 10. And the hot thing that year for Christmas was to get boot skates or roller skates or whatever you want to call them. I had my heart set on these white My Little Pony multicolored, like they were white with like a multicolored kind of ribbon and pony on them then, right? They were My Little Pony boot skates. Now, I didn't for a second think before I wanted these boot skates that they wouldn't be, there might be a challenge in actually using them. I didn't know that. It's just like, oh, I want those lovely things. And that particular year, I got them. But I remember the first time I put them on and my friend was flying around in hers. She probably had hers maybe sooner than I had. And it looked easy. So I thought, grand, I'll get those too. And then when I put them on, I realised, oh my God, there's actually a bit of work here. I can't do this. Like it looks easy. Why can't I do it? So at that time, I can now say that I had a fixed mindset. And I basically, what happens when you have a fixed mindset? You accept, or you sign that invisible contract to say, God, I'm no good at this. And you draw a line under it and you just decide, well, that's the way it is. I can't get past this. Now, these aren't conversations you're having, like, that's very important to note here. These aren't conversations you're having like as a 7, 8 or 9 or whatever year old saying, yes, I must have a fixed mindset. That isn't it. But what I'm saying is, this is what goes on inside our heads from a very young age. So it's subconscious, we're not that aware of it, but I'm talking about it here because I want you to be aware of it. And it's okay if you're 30 or 40 or 50 and only realising this now. I only realised it like about 2 years ago. So there's no room for judgment. We all grow at different times, but we all need to grow, So it's like being a sunflower. A sunflower grows towards the sun, okay? And if you had a fixed mindset, you'd cover yourself over and go, oh no, I can't grow any taller than this. Like, it's not natural. But because we're so convinced by our ego stopping us from a very young age, we think that, oh, these are kind of triggers that come up for us, okay? So it's like, I can't do that. That's a challenge. Or maybe it's a critique that you're afraid of. Maybe like, oh, if somebody sees me fall on those boot skates, I would be very embarrassed. And that shuts you down into a place of kind of fear and worrying about what other people think. And it's very black or white. It's very like, I can do it or I can't. If I can't do it, I'm going to give in now and just quit. So that's what I did. I signed the invisible contract at that age. And what did I do? No, I do think this is kind of funny because I always do find a way, even if it's my own way. My way then, in a fixed mindset, was, well, if I can't go on 2, I'll go on 1. So I was that child, yes, up and down Shandon Street on 1 boot skate, and I would run along with 1 shoe and scoot along on the other. Like, the comical thing is, I didn't see anything wrong with that then. So like, there was a sliver of me that really didn't care what people thought, but at the same time, there was a side of me that was probably worried that, geez, I'll never be able to do this, so I won't even try. So we talk ourselves out of the progress before we've ever even tried harder, you know. Now, again, I didn't run into my parents and say, I need to learn this thing, like I need to get past this, because I didn't know. I just had resigned myself to the fact that I can't do it, so I'll do what I can, you know. So like, think about situations where you might have been stuck in a fixed mindset. It might be that at work, I know there's plenty of adults that work in offices and they can't really master Excel or something in a Word document, simple things that are very doable. You just need to do them on repeat or be shown them to be better at it, you know. It might be running. Running is another one that I kind of have a fixed mindset on. I like to run, but like as soon as I get into that breathing, I never get past that, you know, getting to the 5k or the 10k, because once it gets hard, I'm like, okay, I have enough of that done now. It's a bit of fear and it's a bit of protecting myself. What else could you see in a fixed mindset? Maybe it's riding a bike, or maybe it's, I don't know, quitting smoking, or it could be anything that you feel is bigger than you, that you'd be worried about or hold yourself back from. That's a fixed mindset. It might be that business idea that you have that you're like, no, I couldn't do that now because I don't know the next steps. Like, we don't need to know the next steps. We just need to flick the switch in our heads to say, okay, I don't know how to do this thing, but I am going to keep a growth mindset. And what that means is I'm going to stretch to meet the challenge. It's going to be really hard. And as soon as it gets uncomfortable, instead of running away back to my 1 boot skate land, I will be open to failing. I will be open to learning something. And in every challenge, I'm going to see, oh, it's going to be really hard and it might get the better of me, but I'm going to at least open my mind to the possibility that I could eventually do this. And that in itself is something that will make you think about it differently and frame it differently. And that's all that needs to happen. Like, how we learn anything is on repeat. So when we were younger and we were learning our days of the week, or we were learning, I don't know, the calendar or whatever we had to learn, how did we learn it? Repeat, repeat, repeat. We said it over and over, the alphabet. How did we learn? On repeat. So how are you as an adult still learning? On repeat. Like, you have to do things a few times and to hear it in a few different ways. So I'm telling you today that there is a possibility to grow from the fixed mindset of one boot skate land into growth mindset. Now I'd literally try anything. I have no fear in the fact that I might fail and look like an absolute idiot. I wouldn't be on this if I had any worry about that. Like I said, I don't know if you caught it last week on my stories, but when I decided to do a podcast or like have a podcast and commit to it, like, commitment is my issue. Actually committing to it means that I have to sign a contract with myself, so like, they're the kind of contracts I want to sign, where I have to show up even when it feels horrible or heavy or awkward, because I know that if I see it out, it'll get to the place I want it to get to, because I have a growth mindset now. But if I had a fixed mindset, I would have let all the excuses become my barriers and been like, well, I would do a podcast, but I can't actually call up wherever and book the studio because I can't commit to that time. I don't know if I'll be available. You know, there's a financial commitment that have I the resources to do that? Will I be pinching it from somewhere else? I could come up with things all day long if I had a fixed mindset. But under all that might have been the fear, like all of these suggestions you serve yourself or that your ego serves you that might stop you. Underneath it all, it probably would be just that I was afraid of what people would think of me, or maybe afraid, or like, what if I run out of things to talk about? As if, like, what if I run out of things to talk about? Like, it could be underlying fears or beliefs. Here we go, we're back into belief land. It's beliefs that are underneath that keep you stuck and keep you in a fixed mindset. So there's something that you have to do today, or that you want to do this week, or you want to do this year, and you know, we're all worried about the big goals. Oh, I want to do this. But like, what are the small little steps that are getting you out of a fixed mindset to get you to grow and to get you to move towards whatever that dream or desire or goal is that you have? So like, it's very easy to shift. Now that you know the difference, the first thing you could do is identify, okay, where have I kept myself in one skate land or one boot skate land? You know, how did I tell myself that this was okay? And when you go through it, all of these things are like I said, they're invisible contracts that you agreed to, that you've accepted when your ego said, oh, don't do that. You could fall or you could look like an idiot. You went, yeah, you're right. I'll leave it there. I'll leave it there for now. Like, no more of that. We need to go and move into a growth mindset where we are willing to fall flat and get egg on our faces and get up and wipe it off and go, okay, that was fairly ugly, but I lived through it, I learned from it, and I know the next time I do that, I'll have 1 or 2% better idea of what to do or how to improve it, you know? So that's what I want you to do. They're the kind of contracts, the open-ended contracts, instead of the closed, fixed, I'm going to stay here. And I often hear, you know, stay in your own lane. I get that to a degree, but often your own lane is the wrong lane that you're in anyway, do you know? So like, have a think about that. Grand, stay in your own lane and go at your own pace, but don't stay stuck in a lane that's a bike lane when you should be over in the fast lane, do you know? So think about where you are. Are you fixed there? Or is there a little wriggle room for you to be a bit braver? And the thing is, like, change or like that kind of growth, it's a breath. It's literally one breath away from you. One breath. In one breath you can say yes or no. And that is literally all it's going to take for you to step out of that contract and say no. How long does it take you to sign your signature? You're all there now going, drawing in your heads. Like, it takes a couple of seconds. But before you decide the yes or no, before you sign it, that's a breath. It's a breath in to go yes or no. And it's literally, change is a breath away. And okay, you're not going to change the entire situation with one breath. I'm not for a minute saying that to change fully is that easy, but to say yes or no is one breath. I got loads of messages. I haven't even watched the episode, but there was something on transformation, Operation Transformation. There was somebody on that telling one of the participants about saying no, okay? And I got loads of different messages. I need to go and watch it now, but it's as simple as like one word, one breath can be the thing that activates your change. So give yourself that one breath. Give it to yourself over and over, because it's that easy to just decide, I'm not going to stay stuck. I'm going to do the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And I'm going to say no wherever I need to say no, because they're the things that are keeping me stuck. I'm fitting into everyone else's calendar. I'm fitting into everyone else's schedule. I'm making sure everybody else's needs are met. And that's keeping me stuck, because that's, you know, what are the excuses we tell ourselves? I don't have time. I don't have maybe money. I don't have the skills. You know, all of those things. You don't have them because you've told yourself no instead of yes. But you've told everybody else yes instead of no. Like, you've been saying yes to the right things or the wrong things, you know, however you look at it. But basically, you have the power to change. And there's really only two options, and these are to make excuses. I don't have time, I don't have money, I don't have the skills, I don't have the confidence, and accept that invisible contract that you're signing with yourself every time you let your inner voice tell you those things. Or option 2 is make progress. So make excuses or make progress. They are the only options, and deciding one or the other is one breath away to say yes or no, and you have the power to do that. Like it's that simple. And we go out of our way to make things so complicated. Let's make it harder. Can't be that easy. I think I'll just let my ego and my inner voice make it harder. Like what I was getting to earlier was, when I decided I wanted to make this podcast, usually the thing that holds me up the longest is the right name, because it really has to sit with me, give me energy, align with everything that I'm doing. So once I had a name, I was like, Grant, I'll do it on Monday. And I got up on Monday and I decided, okay, I'll start recording. I recorded the whole episode last Monday. I recorded the little intro for it last Monday. I recorded the sponsorship ad again last Monday. I didn't do any second takes. I didn't edit, because I've decided if I'm going to chase perfection here now and be stopping and starting and recording and no, like that isn't the version that I think is going to help you. You can hopefully, please God, you're listening to me on, the way you can fast forward the speed as someone is talking. I'm hoping to God you fly through it. You can do that if you didn't know, by the way. FYI, I didn't know that for the longest time. When some podcasts were really slow and some were it's because I had probably hit the button by mistake to make it go at a faster time. Anyway, but if I had decided to go, right, well, I have to book into like I said earlier, I have to book into the studio and I don't have time. Or like, how am I going to actually do it if I decide to do it at home? Like, I'll Google it. I'll figure it out. If other people are doing it, I can do it too. I have a growth mindset. So whatever the challenge is, I know I can get past it. And once you give yourself that freedom and nearly laugh at yourself, I was like, here's me starting a podcast. I don't even know how to do it. And then when I did record all the pieces, I'm like, now I need to know how to get them actually up into people's ears. And then, of course, I realised, there's a thing about Apple that you can't just get on Apple. You have to, submit things. So, it was a whole palaver of tiny steps that could have actually been steps that keep me in, one Bootskate land. But I was like, no, I'm not going to go. I'm not here. I'm not available. Like I said last time, I am not available for stressing about things like that. I am not available for worrying about, the technical issues that will come, because if I can't fix them, Google will help me, and if Google can't help me, I'll pick up the phone and talk to somebody that can. And it's that simple when you let it be that simple. But I've spent a lifetime of overthinking and keeping myself stuck, and it's all inside my head. It was literally, as soon as you talk about it out loud or say the thing out loud, progress happens. So what I'm getting to is, I need you to ask yourself today, have you got a fixed mindset, or have you got a growth mindset, or do you float between one and the other? Because that's probably possible too. All of these episodes are designed to stay within about 20 minutes, just so you know, because I want to give you a little nugget, a little story, a little bit of info, and a little bit of a breadcrumb, so that you can just spur a thought which will spur an action, because thoughts become things. Now, I could talk about this will be a whole other episode, but thoughts become things. We can have a thought in our head and it can become a thing. Anything that was ever created in the world, guess what? It started as a thought first. But what happens is, when you have a thought, it basically brings up in you a feeling. It's that feeling that will make you take action. But what happens is, we don't even let the thoughts come up. We're like, no, I can't do that. I'm just going to move on, and no, I won't be able to do that, and draw a line and step over it. So what I want you to do is, are you signing those invisible contracts? I want you to ask yourself, okay, am I fixed or am I growth mindset? If I'm fixed, what evidence do I have that makes me think, yeah, actually I took something for, I didn't apply for that job because there was a promotion at work. I didn't apply for it because I knew I wouldn't get it. So you've limited yourself there, or kept yourself fixed. Even if you were never qualified for the job, go for the job anyway, and know that you're going to learn something along the way, or you're going to put yourself under pressure, or, you know, give yourself a little focus, because the mind is unbelievably powerful. And the little fraction, the little scratch of possibility that we use in our potential that we use instead of the entire mind is unbelievable. But until we start to challenge ourselves and start to get, you know, comfortable with that discomfort, we're not going to use any of the potential. And you've had a million ideas that you've not acted on. No, I'm not saying that you have to act on every single idea, but you get ideas for a reason. And there's part of you on the inside that gets these lovely ideas, and then immediately that fixed mindset comes in and like takes that away from you. So ask yourself, are you fixed or are you growth mindset? Are you signing these invisible contracts and agreeing to things? Are you in a situation that you want to change but you haven't because you've told yourself it's too hard, it's not possible? You have two options, like I said: make excuses, you can make them all day long, or make progress. That change or that progress or that growth is one breath away. If you can't give yourself that one breath, well, there's much bigger things for you to sit down and think about, to be honest. But it's that simple if we let it be that simple. And I think we can let it be that simple. So I'm going to leave it there today. Short and sweet. Give yourself one breath. Give yourself a minute. Sit down now and just relax and go, right, is there something here? Is there a seed of a thought here that would spur me into thinking, yeah, actually, when I look back, there was all these other examples that I probably should have leaned into the fear a bit more and, you know, held the pen for a second before I signed those contracts. So have a think about that. I'd love to hear if this helped you in any way. I would love if you shared it with people, because the more people that you share it with, the more people that I can help, and that we can open up this thought process for people and get them into growth mindset and get them into growing forward. So if you want to share this out, I will always share it on Instagram. You can find me there at upsherises.ie.